Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 101 of my gaming show, where once a week I just has to talk about video games, whether they're new games that I'm playing today, old games that I grew up with, or just, it doesn't matter, video games. But today is a special episode for a lot of us Souls freaks, because I am doing my Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC review. And as of me recording this, no, I have not beaten the final boss. I have tried, very much so, gotten very close, but hopefully I will have it done at some point. I have not given up. I just need to grind out and get some more. We'll get into it. But before we get into the Elden Ring talk, let's talk about what I've been up to over the last week or so. As I always encourage you, the viewer, the listener, let me know what you've been up to. What movies have you seen lately? Anything good? Anything bad? What TV shows are you diving into? And of course, what video games are you playing? Are you playing Shadow of the Erdtree, bro? And have you beaten it? Are you too scared? Have you given up? Let me know if you're playing some Shadow of the Erdtree. And let's talk about what I've been up to. I did pretty well this week, actually. I finished off a lot of stuff. So, finished off Survivor 46. My wife and I finished the finale. Honestly, you know, maybe it was just because I was away from Survivor for a little bit there. I think my wife and I took a month or two off, went to the challenge, let season 46 play or finish out, and then we dived into it, and man, we crushed that just season 46. I loved it. The characters were a little bit hard to like, some of them, but a lot of fun stories. And, well, some of the characters were some of the most beloved, like, for me. Like, I loved Ben, dude. Ben was such a sweetheart. And the winner was a little bit surprising for my wife and I. We're like, oh, like, we liked that person, but I was just like, oh, shit, all right, cool, that's nice. So that was one of my favorite seasons that I've watched this year. Really enjoyed season 46. If you've watched that season, let me know. Who was your favorite and who was your least favorite? Was it that Bonu guy? He got annoying. Oh, man, he got annoying. Anyway, also finished off X-Men 97, finished off the finale, and it was really good. Really good. I really enjoyed it. I'm just, again, not super drawn into X-Men. I really did, though. Was very impressed with the animation in this show. Like, able to capture that 90s feel of the animation, but damn, some of the fights and some damn epic moments throughout this one. If you're an animation fan, and especially, if you're an X-Men fan, I would imagine you've watched this by now, but, must watch for X-Men fans, and, if you like old school cartoons, I don't know, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, but it's not going to be like one of my favorite shows of the year, all said and done, but I liked it. I'm still watching some Wrexham Season 3, watched a few episodes of that. Always a great show to toss on when you're rough day at work, you toss it on after, and you get a whole bunch of uplifting stories, and it's fantastic. Someone at work told me that Ryan Reynolds sold his vodka company or some shit for $1 billion. So, like, I do my best to not stay in, like, recent activities with whatever Ryan Reynolds, McElhenney, and, of course, the team, Wrexham, is doing, because I'm watching the season, and the season's a year behind of what's actually going on. So, like, I don't want any spoilers or any shit like that, but in one of the episodes they're, like, talking about, potential money issues they may deal with in future promotions if that happens, and it's like, okay, well, I guess maybe those money problems aren't going to be a problem whatsoever after that sale right there. So that's pretty cool for Ryan and all that stuff. But, dude, if you haven't seen Wrexham yet, I don't know how many times I have to recommend it on this podcast. Watch it. It's fantastic. I'm not a soccer guy, but you will see with the show, like, it's definitely drawing in a lot of people like me that just aren't soccer people, and I'm getting it. I understand the culture now. All that great stuff. The fans, so awesome. All right. And of course, my wife and I still watching the Challenge Season 39. Can't say I'm as amazingly engaged with the show right now, because I am playing this game I'll talk about in just a moment here. But Challenge Season 39, going well. I mean, the people I'm rooting for right now are still on the show, so that's good. I like that. But yeah, mostly just a background show that my wife and I can watch together when we don't want to be watching wrestling, because there's been an abundance of wrestling lately. But that's okay. I've been getting some video gaming in. So let's talk about this game that's really gotten its hooks into me, that I was like, not really on the fence necessarily, but I was early in Sprout Valley last week, started playing that, picked it up for like $3 on the Nintendo eShop. So started playing it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's a little bit vanilla, but I was like, again, I'm only an hour in, so now that bitch got its hooks in me just a little bit right here, okay? So I'm a little addicted, really enjoying it. So again, if you like Stardew Valley, Harvest Moon, it's very of that nature. Farming simulator, you're planting stuff, and now the game has opened up a few extra things to me. It's still a little basic, it's still not on the level of Stardew Valley, where there's like dungeons and a whole combat system and all that stuff. Sprout Valley, definitely more on the grindy side, if you will. So kind of like Stardew Valley, there's like, to unlock a certain thing, bring all this stuff. Okay, bring some wood, bring some planks and rocks and ore. And with Sprout Valley, it's like, yeah, there's like, oh man, it opened up probably like 7 crates you have to fill with a certain amount of items. Some of it is vegetables and flowers that you're growing, so you're growing stuff, which is great. Watering your crops, all that stuff. One thing that's lacking right now is like that social interaction that you generally get with Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley, where there's generally a little town full of little villagers, and they're all, got their little personalities, and you're meeting them, they're giving them gifts, and they're liking you and stuff like that. With Sprout Valley, there's, so far, only a rat or a mouse or something that lives underneath my house, and it's really cute and cool, and we chat, we say the same three things to each other over and over again. I give it, like, some sashimi or some fucking pies or whatever I'm cooking upstairs to make it like me, and yeah, so we have a little relationship, but, it's a little basic. You can find some like a pet. I have like a little dinosaur that follows me around. It's really cute. Again, for $3, and I'm very happy with this game. Like, again, if you've played all the Harvest Moons, you played the Stardew Valley, check this game out, man. For especially, just get it on sale. I'm not saying that's not worth $20. I think that's what it's going for. But for it to be $3, or I think you can get it for $5 with all the extras and stuff. Oh, and on the Switch, a perfect handheld situation while you're watching a show with your loved ones. So yeah, really enjoying Sprout Valley. It's definitely gotten its hooks into me now. I put in about 5 to 6 hours now. So yeah, definitely a lot more Sprout Valley going down this week. Not complaining. All right, what else have I played? I played an itty bit. I started up Galacticare. It's very much of the 2 Points style game. I don't think it's made by them or anything, but if you played 2 Points Hospital and you played 2 Points Campus, you're looking for something else like I was. I saw this game on Game Pass. It just came out, and it looked just like 2 Point Hospital. And so far, again, I've only played the first opening level. It's very, very similar to 2 Points Hospital. And again, not complaining, because I friggin' love that game so much. I got so addicted to it. But yeah, I just started it just to see what it was, because I was very, very curious. And I'm like, all right, so this is my next 2 Point Hospital Campus. When that itch is really getting itchy, which it's close, it's there. I played the first level, I'm like, I don't know if I'm that craving it just yet, because it is so very similar. It may even be like, it's definitely like, I think a little bit of a tier down from 2 Points, just in terms of like the writing, because 2 Points was really witty and funny, and so far Galacticare, very early, just seems like it's trying a little bit too hard with the funny, and it's not hitting. I don't know, but only played the first level, but not bad, man. If you got Game Pass and you're looking for a 2 Point type video game, check out Galacticare. Not bad at all. My wife and I, like I said, we've been doing good this week. Moving Out 2, played the shit out of that last weekend with my wife. It was great. Oh, well, this would explain why, because it's about a 10-day period, because I did the GamerCast early last week. Anyway, so Moving Out 2, playing the shit out of that, and yeah, I think actually it's getting closer. It's like, last time I talked about it, I was like, I don't know if I like it as much as the first game, but we're getting more levels, and some of them are pretty damn fun. Some of them are not as fun. Like, there's particular levels that I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play those ones again. There's a couple of levels that my wife's like, I'm not feeling that one at all. I'm like, all right, so we can just move on to other stuff. There's a lot of things to collect in terms of like the stars. So each level, it's like, okay, beat it in this time frame. You can beat it in the pro time frame to get more stars, and then there's like 3 to 4 extra stars that you'll be able to get. So there's like 266 total stars to collect. So like, if you got a couple kids or something that are annoying the fuck out of you, like, try to give them this game. It might keep them busy for a couple hours. Just throwing that one out there for you parents out there. But my wife and I really enjoying it. It is a lot of fun. It's not like on the level of Overcooked where you sometimes will get frustrated with your partner and then maybe not talk to each other for a half hour or a week or something, but not having that problem whatsoever with moving out. And here's the big one that I'm diving into right now outside of Shadow of the Erdtree, because I'm not saying I'm done with Shadow of the Erdtree, but I'm basically there. I just need to fight the final dude. So I've moved on to the next game, and it's been itching me for a little bit. It's like, hey, try me again. I think you'll like me this time. And that game is Metal Gear Solid 5. Phantom Pain. So here I go again. I think this is my third solid ass attempt at getting into this game. And so far, baby, I played the first couple hours, the epilogue and the first chapter. That is tasty. That's some tasty shit right there. I hopefully will be doing a review on Metal Gear Solid 5 once I'm done with it. As long as I can get done with it this time, I really hope so. So far, so good. I am drawn in. It's like I haven't touched it in long enough time that I'm like, all right, I don't really remember this. Like, I remember certain big spots at the beginning, but yeah, dude, I am feeling it so far. I've just gotten to Mother Base, and I'm going to learn all that once I start playing it again. But I'll save that for next time. But now it is time for Elden Ring's massive DLC we've been waiting patiently for so long. It's Shadow of the Erdtree. Yay, I get to come back. I have a reason now to come back to Elden Ring, one of my favorite games of all time. If you watched or listened to my favorite top 25 video games of all time, Elden Ring absolutely has a place on that list for myself, and that's not even including Shadow of the Erdtree. I just talked about the base game, and here we are. This is, in fact, a downloadable content. One of the biggest downloadable contents, and I would argue one of the best, if not the best, downloadable content I've ever played, according to media and the internet. The best DLC ever made, ? It's up there, absolutely. And this bitch is huge. It does require a pretty hefty price tag, especially if we are talking about DLC. This cost me Canadian about $60. So $60 is about the price of about a big game now. Like Americans, they get games cheaper now, but yeah, it's a big one. But you're definitely going to get your money's worth out of this if you are an Elden Ring player and you loved that game and you're looking for some more. This is absolutely going to be for you. And I will admit, I'm not a huge DLC guy. I rarely ever play DLCs. I rarely, even more rare, go back to play a DLC of a game that I finished a year and a half, 2 years ago now, Elden Ring. Like, holy crap. And I'm not even, another thing I won't lie about, this snuck up on me a little bit. I completely forgot. Like, this is what I do, man. Like, I kind of put new up-and-coming games out of my brain, and then when the week or two before they come out, I'm like, holy crap, it's here. The same thing happened for Tears of the Kingdom, and here I am. Shadow of the Erdtree is a few days away. I'm like, oh crap, I am not ready whatsoever. So I'll talk about what slight requirements you may need before you even get into the DLC, because if you haven't purchased the DLC yet, or you're on the fence about it, all that kind of crap, I'll let you know the things you need to do to get yourself there. It's not a little bit of stuff. You do need to do quite a few things, actually, to even get to the DLC. So we'll talk about that right now. Let's talk about that right now, because I had myself a little bit of an adventure just getting to the damn DLC. But what I didn't look up anything, and I bought the DLC not thinking about, it'll just be easy to access. Like all the From Software DLCs, they're super easy to get into, right? No, they're never easy. They're never easy. You always have to frickin' do some shit. And but thankfully, I had a New Game Plus about halfway through. I was already at the capital. So yeah, my requirements from that area anyway was that I needed to beat Radon and you needed to defeat Moog. So some are easier than others. So let's start with Radon. I mean, Radon, the homie, one of my favorite boss fights from the original Elden Ring, and gonna go down as maybe one of the most legendary ones because of how just outrageous it is. The lore behind that fight, this massive demigod creature riding this tiny ass little horse, and yeah, just look up the story of Radon and you will learn the story of him and the horse, and it's tragic and sad and funny all at the same time. It's maddening. Anyway, I had to get all the way over there. I haven't even been to that area, so it took me a minute to fucking get all the way over there again, figure out some of that stuff, fight a dragon or two on my way over there, and just getting comfortable again with Elden Ring. I had not played that game since I platinumed it. I platinumed that game and I put the controller down, hadn't touched it since. But I have not stopped thinking about it, obviously. It's, oh my goodness, I've always wanted to come back, but it took me a solid 150 plus hours to platinum Elden Ring, and I was like, that's good, I'm happy right there. But the shadow calls me, and back I came at the New Game Plus, like I said. So I was at, I think, 100 at level 185, something like that, when I got into the DLC. So just kind of giving you a vibe of where I've been. I've heard people the argument of rather starting a whole new game and working your way from a new game and getting into the DLC, so that, I don't know, I haven't really noticed it that badly going into the DLC in New Game Plus, which will make the enemies harder. They'll make them stronger, New Game Plus level stronger. So yeah, you're stronger, they're a little bit stronger. So it's a fine balance. Like I said, I didn't notice it that bad. And we'll talk about the patch. So there was a big patch that got released a few days into the game because everyone's complaining, I can't beat the game. So they released a patch which made the player a bit stronger early in the game, just so you can get comfortable and people aren't, rage quitting and being all upset, so you can get used to the mechanics and some of the new stuff. We'll talk about the new stuff that is getting introduced into this DLC a little bit later. But, geez, I should probably go, back to the patch. Okay, before I go back, I have to go back to the patch first. So the patch releases, makes the game a little bit easier. So for me, I played maybe the first 8 to 10 hours pre-patch where it was hard, like really hard, too hard according to gamers. Yeah, I was having a tough time, but I was under-leveled. I was underpowered. I needed to find more stuff. We'll talk about it, but then the patch happened, and yes, it got noticeably easier, not, like I said, at that point in the game, but as the game goes on, it balances out. So they released a patch. I know the reviewers and the people that got it pre-patch and a month before we can play it, they're all like, oh, we're the real gamers, we beat the game and all this and that and no guides and whatever. I didn't use guides in this. At this point, I'm very comfortable with Souls games. I don't need or use the guides anymore. I used to because I was terrible at them and needed to learn. Not a problem. If you do that, good on ya. If you don't, good on ya. Anyway, Elden Ring didn't use the guide, neither with the fucking DLC, didn't use any guides until, maybe attempt 30 or 40 of the final boss, and then I was like, alright, maybe I'll look up and see a hint or two. So that's kind of my extent with it. It's an open world game full of exploration, and I don't recommend using a guide in terms of telling you where to go and stuff like that. If you get stuck on a boss, sure, look up a guide, no problem. But it's a you need to just explore the game. Anyway, okay, so now that I talked about the patch and rambled about nothing for so very long, let's go all the way back to pre-DLC and me absolutely mutilating Radon in about 4 seconds. It was hilarious. I had a great time. But then I got to Moog, and Moog was fucking hard. Holy shit. Yeah, so this was kind of my skill check to kind of make sure that you're ready for the DLC, perhaps. I don't know. Moog was hard on New Game Plus for me. Its blood attack, his blood attack, whatever, was just instant killing me. I was like, alrighty. So I had to figure out how to handle that. Turns out I didn't have the thing to handle that, so I went down a big ol' quest line to get the thing, and then I got the thing. And finally, I was getting nervous, bro. Like, I was struggling with Moog. So I was like, shit, am I wasting $60 right here if I can't even get into this DLC? Finally took down Moog, and damn, dude, that Moog guy, he was pretty damn tough, and there were some crushing defeats in there. I had very close attempts. One attempt we died at the exact same time, and of course that always goes to the boss's favor, as far as I can tell. It's never gone in my favor, but there you go. So after you've defeated Moog, Elden Ring players, okay, so I haven't even addressed this yet. There will be, as far as I could tell, like, I'm going to talk about bosses. I will not talk about certain bosses. I won't use their names. We'll talk about them, but I won't use certain names. I don't think I'm going to be spoiling anything major. I'm not talking story here, because I don't even fucking understand the story yet. Anyway, I need to catch up on my Vati Vitya. So if you are looking for story content, story discussion, go watch a Vati video, because that dude's the professional, and there's others on YouTube that will be able to explain it to you so much better than me, because again, I don't freaking get it right now. I'm just playing the game. I'm just trying to beat the damn thing, just killing and having fun. But I'll get the story later. But yeah, so if you're looking for story stuff, there won't be any story spoilers here, and I'll keep I'll make sure that no one's spoiled for any final stuff here. So I'll keep you safe, but I will be talking about bosses. So if you don't want to hear about any bosses, once we get there, I'll let you know. That will be a major part of this episode, though, so just so you know. So now that we've gotten into the DLC, let's talk about the new stuff that has been introduced into Shadow of the Erdtree. And one thing, a major problem I was dealing with at the beginning of me playing this game was a horrific frame rate. I don't know, like, I don't know, foggy brain that day, just dumb. I had it on, I believe it's called quality mode in Elden Ring, which is basically graphics, focus on the graphics, which is not me. Like, yeah, graphics are great, but I'm a frame rate guy. I'm performance mode all the way, especially when it comes to Souls games. You need frames. You need those frames, bro. Trust. So, yeah, and I didn't catch that for the longest time. I was played for like 5 to 10 hours before I was like, why do I have it on? I had ray tracing on, and it was just chugging, bro. There is a dragon that I fought that was just out in the open, and it was chugging so bad. I was like, what has happened to my dear Elden Ring? And found out that, yeah, I had it on the wrong mode. So if you're having that problem, just make sure that you're playing it on the performance mode, not quality mode. Make sure that you're focused on frame rate. So then you'll be okay. So that's not a negative to the game. That was a mistake on my part, but I will just throw it out there in case anyone else is dealing with that. Otherwise, before I talk about the map, this massive new map, and we'll talk about some of the areas that really stood out to me, let's talk about these new ways to level up the character. So normally in Elden Ring, you collect souls and you level up, kind of standard, normal way. So for Shadow of the Erdtree, for them to make the game balance better, they have these things called shadow trees or shadow fucking... Oh, well, actually, the best one I heard was someone was like, I thought it was pronounced like skidoo, and someone was like, oh, skadoosh from Jack Black, and I haven't heard the word skadoosh in a minute, so I've been calling them skadoosh seeds or skadoosh ashes. Anyway, you find these things similar like you do the golden seeds in the regular game, and you collect a certain amount of them. You start, like, you have one, and I'll level you up, and it makes you, like, 10. There's, like, a tier list. You can fucking look it up. It's, like, 5, 10%. You just continue to get stronger. Your defense gets stronger. So you can find those. There's a whole bunch of those out there to find. And there's 20 levels that you can gain through the skadoosh seeds or shadow trees blessing thing. So you can level up quite a bit. For me, where I'm at right now, I haven't been able to find all of them. I'm at 16, level 16 in the DLC. And you can also level up your Ashes of War, the whatever you summon in. And yes, I still use my Mimic tier. I'm a bitch. That's just, it's my homie. Whatever. I can't get off of it. I'm addicted to it. It's my comfort. It's my blankie, and I won't let go of my Mimic tier. But you can power that sumbitch up to 10 levels. I've gotten mine to 9. So yeah, they're scattered out there in little skadoosh sumbitches, but they're out there. You can find them. The ones that piss me off, like, I have looked up, because I'm like, where are they? I feel like I've been everywhere and looked at everything, and some of them, like, some enemies have them, random enemies with, like, jars on their heads or something. You gotta hit them, and they'll drop them. I'm like, well, what the fuck is that shit? But they're out there, so you got a whole bunch of those. You can, so that you, if you are playing the game and you're struggling outside of even the main boss, if you haven't leveled up all the way to 20 or 10, then you can do that. That's also maybe my dilemma right now. I need to get it up to that 20 and a 10. But I've read guides where it's like you can get away with 15 and 9, but you know, I can get more powerful. So you got all those new things out there, and of course you get this massive new map, and it's fucking impressive. It is very, very impressive, this map. This map is hard as hell to read. I will say that right now. There's a lot of fucking hills and mountain paths crossing over top of one another, and fucking caves that will lead you into totally different new areas. So like in the Elden Ring, it's big map. You can find pieces of the map, and it'll unveil what the map looks like. So when you first get there, it's just a blank fucking map, and you don't see anything. So there's 5 fragments of the map, I believe, you can find, and they were fucking tough to find, I must say. I had to look up a guide for a couple of them, because they were just like, yeah, you gotta go down like 80 miles from where you want to go down into this mountain and down into a cave. It'll fucking take you through this, beat this boss, it'll come out on the other side, and you go 80 miles, and you're there. It's like, wow. That's impressive. So a lot of that shit going on, very similar to Elden Ring's map, where you can just get lost. Absolutely, in a good way. It's just like, wow, it's so much bigger than you think it is. And I'll just throw it out there now in terms of how long the DLC is. I guess it's determined on how much you want to put into it and your skill level, I guess, on how stuck you get. I have heard stories of people getting stuck on the final boss pre-patch for 9+ hours. So with that being in mind, I've put in a solid like 30+. I don't have the exact number. I might be cracking 40 at this point, because my skill level apparently is not as good as it needs to be. So yeah, you are easily getting the size of a regular FromSoft game. No, it's not the size of Elden Ring, which is massive, but you're getting the size of a regular FromSoft game. So this is fantastic. Fantastic bang for your buck in terms of how many hours you're going to get, and the quality of the map and where you are. So where are we? We're in the Shadow Realm, basically. And as far as I've heard it explained to me by the internet and Vati Vidya, it's essentially the toilet bowl or the sewer system of the regular lands, the lands above. Basically, anything that's unwanted gets flushed down here, and I guess that's the Shadow Realm. It's a gorgeous toilet, though. Like, for a sewer system, whatever the hell it is, beautiful. Gorgeous. Stunning. Unreal. Can't believe it. But, yeah, dude, just getting there for the first time was one of those moments, you know? Getting out of the vault for the first time, or, you know, walking out into Shadow of the Erdtree's fucking Shadow Realm and looking at that tree. Oh my god, that tree is stunning. Like, it's just like black now, and just, oh my god, this is a pretty freaking looking game, man. Like, coming back to it now that I have an actual 4K monitor that is playing it in 4K. Oh my goodness, I've been missing out on some of that shit on the shitty TV that... Anyway, it doesn't matter. I had a TV that wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, so I had to get a monitor that will do what I want. And now I'm getting what I want, bitch, and this game is... this is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So, let's talk about some of the areas that really stood out to me. Because just like the original Elden Ring, like I'm talking about it like it came out 10 years ago or something, but Shadow of the Erdtree just has so many stunning areas and just mind-blowing fucking things you're going to see that numerous times I had to stop, take a picture, show my wife, and like, yo, look at this freaking thing that I saw the other day. And I don't generally do that with, like, I don't take pictures of games usually that I'm playing and sharing it, but it's just, like, so freaking cool, man. But, alright, let's try. I'm not gonna, hopefully not spoil anything too major. I'm just gonna talk about some areas that really stood out. But, let's talk, well, I talked about the tree, obviously. It's the friggin' huge, massive friggin' tree. We talked about that. It is stunning. Very cool. Question is, which tree do you like more? Do you like the original or the, you know, the living tree, or do you like the shadow version of it? I mean, honestly, the shadow version, pretty badass. Okay, so we got Shadow Keep. Well, I mean, the map itself, it's massive, very much so like Elden Ring. It's got big fields and mountains and caves and all that shit. And it's got massive fucking castles like Shadow Keep. And holy moly, like, that castle just kept giving me more. And when I thought I was done, I wasn't even freaking close, man. Like, I thought I got through it, and I was like, okay. And then talking to some other people, they're like, oh, there's some shit downstairs. There is so much in Shadow Keep, man. That is, like, the cool thing about Elden Ring and this DLC, is that the levels are very much so up and down. They have levels, you know, floors, they have basements, stuff like that. And my goodness, Shadow Keep was nuts, bro. Like, I was going up on top of bookshelves and then going way down into the goop, bro. It's insane. Make sure you double check with Shadow Keep. You more than likely missed some stuff. I've missed some stuff. I haven't 100% completed this game. By no means. There's no way. There's tons of stuff that I've probably missed. But Shadow Keep was massive. Belrot, I don't know, I might be saying some of the stuff wrong, but Belrot Tower, just another big, beautiful castle where you fight one of my favorite bosses in the game. We'll talk about that in the boss part, but damn, dude, that was just an awesome arena. I love the architecture of Elden Ring, the massive the masonry, y'all. The masonry. Now, I wasn't a construction expert, but I did a lot of construction work in my young days and throughout high school, and I can appreciate some fucking good architecture, and that's some nice stuff, man. That is some really nice stuff. And there's one more crazy castle in Enir Ilim. I guess, I don't know. Let's try that. But that was the kind of like the more late in the game area, around the final area. And it's this massive fucking spiraling tower that goes upward. And I believe there's like storms going all around it. It was very similar to, or reminded me of, back in Elden Ring, that fucking area I got teleported to with the tornadoes all over the place. Wasn't quite that crazy, but the castle was kind of like that, just destroyed. It's in the air. It's very cool. Very, very awesome area in there, and so many pretty views because you're so high up, and oh my god, like, just gushing about Elden Ring. But in Shadow of the Erdtree, so many times you'll be in an area and you'll look down and you're like, whoa, like, shit is going on down there. There's a fucking massive giant fucking fire golem thing. Let's talk about that guy for a hot second. Have not defeated one yet. I've only tried to fight those things a couple of times, but they're, very vivid, very noticeable in the DLC, and they're all over the trailers and shit like that. But yeah, you fucking be looking down a mountain, and you're like, whoa, how can I get down there? And the best thing is, in Elden Ring, you will be getting down there at some point. You'll figure it out. Whether you fucking find it through a weird hidden path in a cave, you will get down there. And when you get down there, you look up, and you're like, dude, I was looking down from that mountain, and now I'm down here, or vice versa. I was looking up, and you're like, whoa, there's a huge castle up there. how the heck do I get up there? And then when you're up there, you're like, bro, I was down there. Like, that is so fucking cool, man. Not quite like the, that's like the one thing about Breath of the Wild that I love, is that you can just climb up anything, which I just wish more games would do. There's just that, especially in an open world game, I would love to just be able to climb things in Elden Ring the way that you can in Breath of the Wild. That would just be the perfect pairing, but goddamn, so many nice towers and castles. Then you get the Cerulean Coast, which is just like, it's a coast, it's coastlines, kind of beachy, but not, it's Elden Ring, so it's like a horrific, scary beach with horrific creatures and all that stuff, but it does have this stunning flower field that you arrive in when you first get there. Oh, another moment where I just had to stop, take it all in for a second, and just be like, fuck, man, this world, I love being in here so much. Like, if only things were nice in Elden Ring and it wasn't so disgusting and just horrible creatures. Like, man, Elden Ring, like that world, when it's in harmony, I can only imagine how beautiful and amazing it is. But the Cerulean Coast, you get the waters, you get the beaches, and then you get the Abyssal Woods. Oh my god, looks so awesome. I'm a huge horror fan. I am terrified of the woods. Only at night. I mean, I love camping, but, it's just... the thought of getting lost in the woods at night is horrific to me. And then I got to the Abyssal Woods and I'm like, oh god, like, this is like the picture perfect woods that I would never want to get lost in. But I loved traveling through it in Shadow. It was just so fucking cool looking, so creepy, straight out of a freaking horror movie. Even has the creepy mansion tucked away in the woods. And the only part that does suck about this area, kind of like in typical Souls fashion, where there's always kind of like an area you don't like to be in. Generally, it's like a poison swamp. I get reminisced of Demon Souls. That poison swamp was horrific, especially if you don't have the ring that can help you get through the swamp quickly. Anyway, this place, you can't ride Torrent, the horse, or the mule, or whatever the hell that creature is. You can't ride your thing around because it is too scared. It's like, nope, not coming in here in the woods, homie. You are on your own. And kind of understandable. It's okay. It's not the biggest area. There's a few areas you're like, yeah, I'd like to have the horse right now, but it's okay. It's just different, very different. It stood out for sure. Traveling through that area, it's creepy, and I did enjoy it. That was a great spot. Now we get to I inevitably had to look up some areas. I was like, I can't figure out how the hell to get over here. So like the northeast part of the map, there was just like no way I was gonna figure it out, because there's numerous times throughout the DLC where I'd get to like a fork. I'm like, all right, there's a path up, there's a path down, there's a path straight. And I'll go explore those paths. Sometimes that path may take me a few hours to explore in its entirety, and then I forget to come back and take the left path or go south. So shit like that, I would just have to remind myself, oh, okay, I didn't come back and check out this path. But this one, though, I had to look up, because you have to use like a specific gesture in front of a specific statue to open up a secret path. It sounds like some freaking Nintendo 1980s bullshit right there, but it happened. I mean, we are in the age of the internet, and guides are plentiful, and there's tons of hints and tips and tricks and all that great stuff now for Shadow of the Erdtree, so I was able to figure it out and get into the northeastern part of the map. But one great thing was, every time I thought I was on the right path to collect a map fragment, because that was kind of my main goal, I just wanted to collect. I feel like that's generally like the first thing you want to do, just collect the map pieces, get a look at what we're looking at here, and start figuring out the map and shit like that, regardless. So every time I thought I was gonna on the path to a map piece, you'd run into a dead end and there'd be notes there, and it's just like, still no map piece. You're like, god damn it. So it's like everyone else is like on the same page with me right there, not being able to find shit. But anyway, so then I got to another area that took me a very long time to figure out, but one of those things, it was on the beach, and I'm looking up, and there's this ginormous freaking dead dragon up there, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I was like, I know I can get up there. I gots to get up there. And it took me forever to figure it out. Ended up having to look it up. But when I got up to the Grand Dragon Altar, that place is awesome. So it has the big giant dragon, this ginormous dead dragon, and it's surrounded by a whole bunch of other little dead dragons. They might be drakes. I don't frickin' know. I'm not a dragon expert over here. Regardless, in this area, the skies are just beautiful. That like dark crimson red and a little purple up in there. And the mountains, like, oh my god, man, it is just insanely pretty. And I'll talk a little bit about the weather effects. There's some pretty neat weather effects. There's some like rain that comes down in like certain areas. It like turns on and off. That was fun to play with. But the rain looks pretty solid. And then there's like wind storms that come out, and the wind is just whipping around the trees and stuff like that. Pretty fucking good. And of course, like the storms, the wind storms and stuff like that. Excellent. And it gets even better in some of the boss fights. We'll talk about those when we get there. But those were some of my favorite areas, just exploring amongst, like, just the general beauty that is the Shadow Realm. It's fucking awesome, dude. Like, it's as freaking just, wow, what's that over there? What's that over there? It probably, I enjoy the exploration probably more in Elden Ring than Breath of the Wild. But, man, there's just so many, like, dead ends and, like, oh, I can't quite get there from here, which you don't have that problem generally in Breath of the Wild. Wherever you want to go, you can get there, like, by generally just climbing there. With Elden Ring, it's a little bit of a puzzle with the map, because it's just so layered. It's paths underneath paths, and you can't always tell on the map. Like, sometimes it's there, and it's just kind of hard to tell. But, yeah, the map can be a little confusing, but that is the fun of Elden Ring, is exploring this ridiculous world that you're in. There's just so many cool things to look for and see and go into, and then it just gets crazier, and it's an onion. There's so many layers, so many freaking layers. So in terms of like some of the other new stuff they've added to the DLC, amongst like we talked about the Skadoosh Blessing and the Skadoosh Realm, or you can power up your shadow dudes or whatever. So we have that. There's new enemy types, of course. I can't remember 100% which ones are new, because I haven't played Elden Ring, the original one, in a while, but obviously the big fire giants, we talked about those. Really cool. They're really hard. They're really tough to fight. I know the trick to them is that you have to throw, like, some sort of fire bomb into their basket, their head, or whatever the fuck, and then that'll do some big damage. I just haven't gone back to take them down, honestly. Maybe I'll go back and try it. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. They destroyed me. They just throw fucking fire all over the freaking place. You get close to them, they will smash you with their ginormous wooden frame, and I generally don't do a lot of damage to it. It does a lot of damage to me, so I generally avoid those things at all costs. But there was a couple of wow moments with those. Like, I thought I was safe up on this big mountainside cliff, and no, it just like fucking like pops its head up and like shoots fire at me. I'm like, God damn, that was scary, just a little bit right there. So there was numerous times I got scared in this game, mostly by my wife, because I'm playing with headphones on and she'll sneak up behind me, and that's not all right. Don't do that. That's unfair. So yeah, we have new enemy types. Some are very hard to fight. There's like this lion-headed warrior. Those motherfuckers were ridiculous. So these like fucking, I don't know, 7-8 foot tall fucking lion-headed warriors. They are what they are, but they generally are equipped with like double great blades, and some of them shoot lightning bolts and shit like that. There were a handful to deal with those guys. Like, they would be kind of like a roadblock for me, as like, I know if I get past you, there's probably like a fucking site of grace right behind you, and it was always risky because it's at the end of a big part, so you got a bunch of souls or whatever. And I don't know why I cared about the souls. Souls for me generally did not matter at all. I was a high level. I was getting very minimal returns leveling up, but still, it's just in there. It's just that, yeah, I don't want to lose my souls. I worked hard for these. I don't want to lose them. And those dudes were fucking hard, man. I remember got to one area, and I was like, okay, big, awesome area, and one of them just popped up on top of this fucking roof. I'm like, oh no, he's up there, and having to deal with that guy again. I did not like that. But what new enemies for you really stood out? That guy was really the one for me. And of course, I will just say, yes, I know people don't like the fingers and the hands and all that crap. There is a ton of them. There's a ton of them in the DLC. Honestly, I'm not that scared of them. They're unsettling. They're gross. But they're not that bad. If they were like giant tarantulas, that'd be way worse for me. So for some reason, though they are tarantula-like, they are not tarantulas. They're giant hanes. And that doesn't scare me that bad. But there's like areas like, okay, well, another area that really stands out are the finger areas. There's these, like, a couple of them. Actually, two more areas I'll talk about quickly. The finger, like, runes area. You get this massive area, and he's got these giant, like, columns of fingers that you're just like, yo, shit has gone down here. And, of course, there's tons of lore. You can look into it. Again, not a professional lore expert over here, but I just knew coming there. I was like, oh, snap. This is like, yo, is this, like, where the finger aliens landed? And, like, oh, what's going on here? It's crazy. And another area that stood out when I did finally uncover the map, in the bottom, southeast corner, there's like a giant mountain crater thing, and oh yeah, bro, you can get over there, and there's a whole fucking situation going on over there. We'll talk about it. It relates to the dragon fucking altar area. A lady there will give you a quest to go fight something rather big. We'll talk about them in a little bit. Don't worry about that. But, of course, amongst new enemies, you have tons of new weapons and armors, talismans, ashes of war. Fucking, there's stuff for everybody. All play styles. You have all types of weapons. So I'll talk about the weapons that I was playing with. Yes, I am a dexterity build. At this point, I have been... I'm new to dexterity builds. I have always been a strength build. From Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, well, you don't really have that choice in Bloodborne. I've always been a strength build. I like to smash. Big weapon, fucking pancake a bitch. So much fun. And for about the first half of Elden Ring, that's what I was. Strength build, smashing everybody, smash, smash, smash. And then I was like, well, fuck, let's change it up. Let's try speed, and let's try the opposite. Let's, instead of being big and just colossal, let's be quick and all that. So, yes, I've used the River of Blood katana. I've used it. It's my baby. I love it. Whenever I'm in a pickle, I pull out my little bitch weapon. Sure, whatever it is. It doesn't matter to me. But I was using so many freaking weapons, man. Oh my goodness. Let me see. I wrote them down, like just some of the weapons I was using. My old favorites, the Dragon Knight Crag Blade. You got Margit's Cursed Sword. The Great Katana, I do believe, was a new weapon that I picked up. It was okay. River of Blood, of course. The Hand of Melania, I just like to use that because it's fun. The Pole Blade of the Bud. That is a new weapon that you get off of a boss in the game. It is rather cool. Very cool weapon. Very flashy. It's a pole blade. It's a pole with a blade on the end of it. But it has a cool, like, special move. It's like a sweeping rot attack, so you fucking do these two swings and it just covers a good amount of area and it just like rots whatever is in that area. Pretty good. It was fun to use. I leveled that bitch up, was playing with that a lot. Eleonora's pole blade I picked up just before entering the DLC. I saw that thing. I was like, yo, that's Darth Maul's weapon. If it was not a lightsaber, it's just like a double pole blade. It is sick. It is so fun to use. It's of course got blood buildup, so it's a deadly weapon. Very, very fun, but it's not new. This is like my new baby right here. The dancing blades. Oh my god! I picked these bitches up off of, I believe it is a boss, and holy fuck, these things are gnarly. So the fight was hard because she's using this combo that you get with the weapon. It's a special attack. You can literally just hold down the attack and you just go like spin crazy. Just fucking massive unstoppable combo. It is awesome. It is so freaking good, so powerful. I believe it also has blood buildup, so Yeah, it is a deadly weapon. Very, very fun to just go into a crowd of enemies and just go onto the spin attack and you just destroy bitches. Tons and tons of fun. And of course they have weapons and magic for other builds. There's new dragon attacks. I haven't played around with any of the dragon builds, but I know there's new dragon attacks. There's so much shit. And of course, when you beat the big bosses and stuff, you get their memory or whatever, like you did in the regular game, and you can unlock special weapons, special fucking armors. You can unlock their armors. It's awesome, man. I didn't write down any of the new armors, but there is one piece of armor I know a lot of people are very privy of, myself included. I've been wearing it ever since I got it, and it's the fucking head of one of the bosses you defeat. You can just wear its head. It's massive. It's hilarious. I'm pretty sure I have a picture of it on my Twitter page if you're friggin' interested. But you're more than if you're listening to this, you're more than likely have it and have worn it. And hell yeah, because that thing is awesome. Friggin' awesome. So yeah, lots of new stuff. Gameplay mechanics, like I said, just the leveling up. There's nothing really really crazy. I don't think there's any you get a double jump now, you get a fucking roll. Well, you do have a roll, a normal, a continuous roll. No. Regular roll, yes. Other than that, it's just a brand new big map with tons of new weapons and bosses and new lore and story parts and all that great stuff. So, speaking of bosses, I think it's time to start talking about the bosses. And I was told that there was 10 bosses. Now, there may be 10, main big new bosses or something like that. There are substantially more than 10 boss fights in Shadow of the Erdtree. I promise you that. We'll go through, I'm gonna go through all the ones that I did. I am not going to, it's not going to take an hour and a half to go through all of them. We'll just kind of touch on each boss fight, which one really whooped my ass, which one I walked through, and I'll write down my favorite boss fights at the end, talk about the final boss, and let's just start. I'm just going to go through them in order of how I dealt with them, and here we go. So, these are the pre-patch fights that I had. So before the patch went down, I admittedly was getting my ass kicked. And I got my ass kicked by the first boss that I met up with, and that is the Blackgall Knight. I was just going at him, again, a little bit rusty maybe, still kind of unfamiliar with myself, and yeah, maybe just a little rusty, but at first, I was barely scratching this dude. I was doing 0 damage, and he was doing so much damage to me. So, again, I was playing around with some stuff, and I was like, oh, how do I summon things? I thought I can summon in just an NPC. I ended up going on, went online, and I summoned in 2 people from online. So it was me, the 2 people that I summoned in online, thank you for helping me, by the way, and the Mimic Tier. I was like, fuck it, let's destroy this bitch. And that's exactly what we did. We ganked his ass. We just swarmed him in a corner and fucking mutilated him. So Blackgall Knight, you whooped my ass, and then I whooped your ass, so that was great. And then we get to the first wall, which is the second fight. I immediately ran into R'Lana. I always call her Renala, but it's R'Lana. Twin Mood Blades. Holy fuck. So yeah, she was whooping my ass. I was like, uh-oh. I was already getting those oh shit, is this going to be too hard for me? I don't know what I'm doing here. And yeah, I was under-leveled. I didn't have very many skidoo blessings yet, or whatever the fuck, but she is lightning fast, hits like a truck, has strong magic attacks, and then the second phase, she pulls out double magic blades. I was amazed. I was like, this is awesome, but no, please stop kicking my ass. I was triple teaming her, and she was still very difficult. Took me multiple attempts. I found that range was the key to that one. Just stay away from her massive lightning fast combos. That seems to be a running theme in this DLC. It's just really big, fast combos that kind of change up the pacing. It's quick, it's kind of shit like that. You're like, oh my goodness, you're very on your toes in that fight. I loved it though. I loved this fight. It was very fun. Really got me on my moves, just rolling, getting my dodge going. I'm a dodge guy. I like to dodge. I will block. I do have a great shield, but I don't know. It's just the Bloodborne in me. I like to dodge. So the music was also fantastic. Loved it. One more fight that I got into before the patch was just a ghost flame dragon that was kicking it out in the open. I was like, ooh, dragon. Went to go fight it. Holy shit, did that thing ever beat the shit out of me so many times. Like, probably 10, 15 times this thing took me down. And I was like, holy fuck. So a big problem here was the frame rate that was just god-awful for me before I figured out my performance problem. And then I figured it out. And then the patch happened, and then I beat the shit out of this dragon. No problemo. Super solid, fun dragon fight. Very similar to the ones in the regular game, just the ones that are out in the open. And once I got comfortable with it, there's numerous of these dragons. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 of these things out there in the open. There's I think one area, there's 2 you got to fight at the same time. And yeah, they're fun. They're just fun dragon fights. Really enjoyed those. So now these are, after the patch, there's a lot of fights that did after the patch, so if that bothers you, I apologize, but it is what it is. We got the demi-human swordsman. Dude was easy peasy, so I had no problem with him. We get Death Knight. I like the Death Knight. There was 2 of them that I fought. They're pretty badass. Fucking just big Death Knight dude shooting lightning bolts, and they have a fucking grab attack that heals himself. That caught me off guard. I fought him, didn't notice it the first time, and it killed me, and I was like, the heck, I thought I was closer than that. And then I noticed it, I was like, oh, you son of a bitch, you healing yourself. And it was a pretty difficult fight, but I like that one. The Death Knights are really fun. Just get behind that sumbitch and backstab him, you'll be okay. Now we get to the first one that really just blew me away with just how cool it was, the design of the beast, and that is the divine beast, the dancing lion. Oh my god. So this thing it's got it's the head that you're wearing, it's the armor. Once you kill this thing, you can wear its head, and it's just this giant, creepy, lion, dragony looking thing. But it moves like, in the parades with those dragons, the Japanese or Chinese dragons that are moving with the sticks. It moves like that. So it's pretty agile, it's quick, it's kind of creepy the way that it moves. The fight is very wild. It's shooting off all these different elemental attacks. It'll like switch it up. It'll go like, yo, I'm shooting fucking blizzards at you. Now I'm doing fire and then lightning. Not to brag, it was a very intense fight. Like, for me, I beat it on my first try with my summon and the mimic tier. If it's available to me, I'm going to use it. But it was a really fun fight. Really enjoyed that one. I think a friend at work said that he beat it in 1 hit. So yeah, maybe it's not the hardest boss, but I had a ton of fun fighting it on the first. It was a close fight for me. I think it came down to like, if it hits me, I'm dead. If I hit you, it's dead, and I got it. So it was really fun. Really enjoyed that. The arena that you fight it in as well is fucking awesome. We got the golden hippopotamus. Aw, man, it is exactly what it is. A fucking golden hippopotamus, and it has a little prickly twist. Like halfway through its fight, it kind of turns into a fucking porcupine. A bunch of spikes pop out. And yeah, it took me a few attempts to beat it. But it was a solid big creature fight. It does its big biting attacks and big choreographed swing attacks, and you just have to dodge it, but it hits like a freaking truck. But it's fun. I believe there are a few of those as well to fight. And then we get to Dancing Lion version 2. So this one I cheesed, I'm not gonna lie, just because I wasn't having it. So this fucking dancing lion summons a horde of basilisks. If you remember those, they are from Demon Souls, these motherfuckers. Oh, I hated these things so much. So these creepy frog-looking things with massive, creepy eyes on them, and they shoot off, let's just call it a death mist. If it fills up your bar, you're fucking dead instantly, and it'll just summon hordes of these things. So that was really annoying on top of the fight itself. So I was like, nah. I stood up on a ridge, and I shot it 8,000 times with an arrow, and avoided the basilisks, and I won. So there you go. Don't fuck with me. Don't you be showing me basilisks. I hate those things. Now we get to one of the big, awesome fights in the game. This is one of their, let's call them the Big Ten. You got Mesmer, the Impaler. This guy has a badass entrance and a badass mid-fight scene as well. A couple of cutscenes in there. Awesome. And the fight is hard. This dude is very, very aggressive. I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was the final boss. I was like, oh, is this it? Because I heard a couple of things, like, people just, ooh, this is really hard, especially when they attack you right as you enter the fucking arena kind of deal. I was like, oh, maybe this is it. And like, yeah, dude, this guy was fucking aggressive, super aggressive, huge combos, second phase attacks get even freaking crazier, but I really enjoyed this fight, man. Mesmer, the Impaler, fucking awesome. We get Black Knight E-Dread. It was just kind of whatever, just a knight with a big old health bar, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Then we get to Romina the Bud Saint. This thing looked awesome. This is where you get that pole weapon. The music was awesome. The arena was awesome. Like, the Scarlet Rot is back. I was like, oh no, not this again. I got nervous that it was maybe gonna be like, is this like the rumored harder than Melania fight? I was like, oh shit, is this gonna be it? It was an intense fight. very, very intense. My heart was pounding, as is with most of the fights throughout this game, but very, very much so pounding. I was like, I had to take a minute for after that fight. It was so freaking close, and just, yeah, I don't remember how many times it took me. Not too many, but it was close. And of course, the Scarlet Rot returns. Yuck. We got a couple of great bear fights. I quite enjoyed these, actually. There was two of them, Ralva and Rugula, whatever the fuck. They were great bears. I found them to be stronger than Rune Bears, which are always fucking pleasant to deal with, but they were all right. Very similar in terms of fighting them to the Rune Bear, but when you beat them, you get to wear their head on your head as well. But it wasn't as big and funny looking as the lion's head, so I didn't keep it on. But moving on to, oh, this guy was a piece of shit for a minute. Commander Gaius. Damn, dude, this guy I had to be like, all right, you're just way too strong right now, and I had to retreat and come back and fight this guy another day. And if you're dealing with that, that is a great option sometimes, man. Like, just go do some other shit, go down a different path, get stronger, and come back and fight another day. Like, that is an option in Elden Ring. Sometimes you just gotta do that. And I had to do that with Commander Gaius at first, but this dude, holy crap, even when it came back stronger, he was still very hard to handle, because he's fucking riding this giant boar or whatever the hell, and he is charging at you immediately. And me, being the simpleton that I am, I always want to get my mimic out as fast as possible, just, but this dude is charging at you immediately, and that charge attack was one shot hitting me and killing me immediately, a level 190 something, whatever I was. So I was like, oh damn. So I couldn't figure out how to fight him. I was struggling to figure it out. Like, should I fight him on the horse, off the horse? What am I doing here? And once I finally got through his initial charge attacks, then he wasn't actually that bad. He wasn't too bad at all. Felt very much like that, that knight at the beginning of the game that everyone struggled with in Elden Ring. Kind of like that. He wasn't too bad. He does hit like a fucking brick house, though. But once you close in on him, it's not too bad. It would actually end up being pretty fun, challenging fight. The design of the guy was cool. I mean, I'd like a big mount fight. It's big, huge arena. Reminds me of numerous fights that are on mounts, like the one in Sekiro. Big spinning dive attack. That was freaking funny that he did. And if you have to, if you're struggling, just make sure you come back and beat this guy at some point before you fight the final boss, because he has amazing loot behind him. Just trust me on that one. Beat him and find the little spot behind him, and you will find the loot. It's awesome, and it's a must-need. Go get it. So now we get to the Sunflower. Now, the Sunflower I had to hear about, because I missed this one. That was in Shadow Keep. So I heard about it, and I was like, oh shit, I missed a whole basement area of Shadow Keep. And I think that's where I ended up finding Commander Gaius as well. I found him by accident trying to find the frickin' Sunflower. And I heard horrible things about the Sunflower. Like, oh, it's this 3-stage fight, it's hard as hell. And I'm like, oh no. So I was prepared mentally that way, but this fight was fucking wild, dude. And it was very, very difficult. That was one pissed off evil Sunflower. I don't know what happened to that Sunflower, but I was very angry. And it gets more aggressive each phase. So, and it's a tricky, I mean, I kind of wish I didn't know about it, because then I would have got caught off guard. Because initially, like, you take it down pretty friggin' easily. Like, that first health bar went down no problem. I was like, uh-oh. And not like the monkey fight in Sekiro, but this thing comes back not once, but thrice. And it's just like, oh god. And it gets harder each time. Oh, and it's also a nightmare for close builds like me. When you got to get close and personal with these things, they don't have any range. It's a nightmare because it's freaking popping up all over the place. It goes in its freaking goop and then pops up another goop, and I'm like, god damn it. And then the third phase has this really nasty Holy Blast with a huge AoE. It's really hard to avoid it. But yeah, I've heard some people calling it kind of a cheap fight. You know, there's a counter for pretty much everything, and once you figure it out, I love this fight. I really enjoyed it. It was heart-poundingly intense, very, very difficult, but it was a lot of fun. I'm happy I heard about the Sunflower and was able to find it and defeat it. We got Demi-Human Queen. I mean, it looked intimidating. I might have been overpowered when I fought this one. I destroyed this thing. It was creepy looking, but yeah, destroyed it. You got Dancer of Rana. I believe this is where I got those fucking blades. It was a good PvP style fight. Like, it's just a character that has weapons and they're using like their Ashes of War. Love these fights. They were my favorite ones in Lies of P. So yeah, I'm a big fan of these ones. So Dancer of Rana, that was fun. You got Rock Shasa, whatever. Anyway, that was a tricky fight. Dude is equipped with a massive katana, which you get to keep after you beat him. It's not great. I don't like the big katanas. It's too slow. Anyway, this dude, yeah, he has massive range, so I had a little bit of a struggle dealing with his range and getting in there because he hits like a fucking truck. So, but otherwise, a solid fight. And then we get the Putrescent Knight. This thing was very awesome in terms of design. Creepy fucking creature. I have not fought Orphan of Cause before, but I've seen the fight and it definitely gave me vibes of that thing. Its arena was creepy, and it's riding this fucking like gross horse that get nightmare fuel for me. Oh god, there's some horror movies I watched as a kid that thing just reminds me of that. And it's like traveling through the water. It's really gross and creepy. I really loved the look of the creature. The fight was good as well. It was a solid, challenging fight, and the arena was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. That was fun. Yori, Elder Inquisitor, that was a good fight. It summons a bunch of ghost friends that every once in a while you got to take out them or find the real dude, and he shoots off some holy magic. Not bad, solid little fight. We got the Lamentor. I might be mistaking this one with the last one I just talked about, but this was a easy fight for me. It also makes copies of itself, so might have been mixing it up with the last one, but I don't know. Dudes are making copies of themselves, and fuck that shit. Now we get to the one I was very excited to get to. I saw this in the trailer. The dude that's like pulling the sword out of his head and his neck is like getting extended. I was like, oh, that is disgusting. I can't wait to see that thing. And when I got there, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. This is where we get the madness. We get, that area was fucking scary too. I think that might be in the Abyssal Woods, but like, everything has like creepy red glowing orangey eyes. Even the sheep and shit like that. I was like, this is very unsettling and I don't like that. But yeah, Midra, Lord of Frenzied Flame. Badass entrance, like I said, with the pulling out the sword out of its head. That was just so fucking cool. I was like, oh, I want to watch it a zillion times, but for me, this fight was easy. Again, I might have been a little bit too powerful. I'm not sure. But the giant madness blast, that was a big threat. I do believe that took me down a couple of times. Other than that, it was just a really fun, badass fight. Really enjoyed that one. Now let's talk about some dragons. So before you get to the big dragon, you have to fight another big dragon, and that is the Ancient Dragon Senesakes. Oh, baby. Great fight right here. Very epic. There's fucking fire and lightning shooting all over the place. The dragon design is very cool. And this one I do believe is an actual dragon. It's got like 4 limbs and the wings. The music is epic. I know some people don't like the dragon fights because they can be a little chaotic, hard to follow. But yeah, I really like this. If you like the big, crazy dragon fights in Elden Ring, then you're going to like these ones. This was very I'm not going to say exactly the same as like those, but similar, very similar in feel. But then you get to Bale. Bale the Dread was, oh baby, a little bit different. Loved the design of this thing. Giving me, my Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there, you remember Black Skull Dragon? Oh my god, it was giving me those vibes. Black Skull Dragon's probably a top 5 Yu-Gi-Oh of all time for me. That dude is so fucking cool. Black Skull Dragon! Anyway, this one saddened me so deeply because I almost killed it on my second try, and we ended up killing each other at the exact same time. So almost beat it on my second try, and I would have loved that because it took me quite a few more times to take it down, but that was okay because the fight was fucking awesome. The music, bro, oh my god, like, I'm gonna have to like watch someone. I'm going to probably watch some of the Fighting Cowboy playthrough of this just so I can sit and actually appreciate and watch the animation of the fights and really listen to the music. Because, of course, when you're engaged in battle, bro, you are fucking locked and loaded. You are focused on the movements of the... You're not really appreciating how much is going on and how crazy it really is. Like, you are, but you aren't. You know what I'm saying? So this dude, holy fuck. Crazy. So you got the crazy weather effects going on. Like, this is everything's going just crazy. Wind, fire, lightning, it's all there. And there's a dude on your way up to the mountain to fight this dragon. There's a dude called Igon, something like that. I summoned him in because he asked me really nicely. He's like, please let me fight him with you. I was like, all right, come on in, we'll fight together. And it was all, he was just kind of screaming and shit. You get some extra dialogue for the fight, so I recommend you bring him in it adds to the fight, because there's like a little bit of a story there for it, so I would recommend bringing him in. He doesn't really help, I don't think, all that much. I think he's just shooting some arrows from distance, so yeah, you get a little bit of help. It's awesome, but that fight was so sick. The second phase, like, transition was just like, fuck, dude. You like, oh my, I don't want to spoil it. I want y'all, if you know, if you don't, go experience it, man. Like, holy shit, it was an insane fight. Definitely one of the highlights, standout fights for this game. And that was the final boss that I got to. Before we get to the final boss, and we're gonna take a moment here, we're gonna talk about the final boss. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm just gonna call it the final boss. I'm not gonna name it because there might be spoilers there for someone. So I'm not gonna say anything. But I will address the fact that I am hearing the disappointment from people, and I personally don't get it. I wasn't like, oh my god, like, this is so cool. I guess I understand the disappointment because it wasn't like this insanely brand new, just unbelievable creature or something like that. But for what it was very, very cool. So I liked it a lot. But I do understand what people's disappointment is. But to call it like bad or anything, fuck no. This fight is so much fun. Oh my goodness. The only thing that sucks is I still can't beat it. I can't do it. I just tried. That's why I held off this episode for an extra day, just so I can try. I tried, y'all. I really did. I do believe that I will and can win. It's just at this point now, it's become a grind. I have to literally go grind for materials so I can craft a certain thing that I need to help me in the fight. And it's just, now I have to go out and grind those items, and I'm like, ugh, I really don't want to do this. I've attempted probably solid 30, maybe 40 plus times, something like that. Not all in a row. Now, I can't say I've given it more than like an hour straight of attempts, which is roughly 10 to 15 attempts each time. I'm not really sure. I really haven't been keeping track. But what is amazing about this fight is that I cannot stop going in and trying again. It is a very, very fun mechanical fight. Now, I understand there's some people that think it's unfair. I'm not of that mindset. I don't think it is an unfair fight at all. There are tons of things that you can do to mitigate what this fight is, but it is absolutely difficult. It is very, very hard. As is right now, I don't think it's the hardest boss I've ever fought. For me, it's Ishin, the Sword Saint. That dude was just on a different tier for me. Numerous times I felt like it was impossible. With this guy, this thing, this whatever, I don't think it's impossible. I feel very confident I can do it. I just need to keep going at it and a little bit of luck. I'm just going to need a little bit of luck, and I've gotten very close. Probably 5 or 6 times I've whittled it down to maybe 1/8 and less. So let's just kind of get into the fight a little bit. So the introduction is awesome. This arena that you're in, it's gorgeous. It's so cool. I want to know what's going on behind you. Once I beat you, I'll figure it out. I still don't know. But it's so cool, man. The music, oh my god. I think that's what I opened this episode with, was the final boss music here. Awesome. It's gorgeous. It's really what I wish I could say about the final boss in the original Elden Ring, like the base game. The Elden Beast just fucking sucks, and I do want to go back and revisit it, because now I do believe you can summon your horse in the fight now, which could really, really, really make a difference. I could probably turn the game into a perfect 10 out of 10 instead of the 9.5 that I gave it. If you want to listen to the full review, there's a full, I think, 2-part review for Elden Ring you can go listen to. Please and thank you. That would be awesome. But yeah, I took a 0.5 off of Elden Ring because of how bad the Elden Beast was for me. I fucking hated that fight, but I do not have that problem at all with this final boss in Shadow. I think it's a brilliantly fun fight to play, and it's crushingly difficult, but man, it's fun. This boss is hyper aggressive. It's huge. It's got insane range. It can close the gaps crazy fast, bro. You cannot run away from this thing. I don't know how magic builds are handling this boss. I'm not really sure. I don't know how a strength build could handle this boss. Like, thankfully, I'm not a strength build right now. From what I've read, I've had to look up, a hint or two just to see if there's something that I'm maybe doing very wrong. As far as I could tell, it seems like Dex build is probably my best bet. So I feel pretty good about it anyway. Yeah, the hyper fast combos. At this point, I'm very good at. I can't decide if I want to dodge them or block them. I know that's kind of been my downfall at this point. Is I have to pick a lane, I think, and just stick with it. Rather dodge the attacks or block them if you can. And so the first part is very, very fun. I love the first part of the fight. It's just kind of you and the enemy, and it's just onslaught, absolute onslaught. The second phase is that's where I can understand people think that it can get unfair, because now not only is this thing throwing the same combos that it now gets kind of like a partner. Another cutscene, pretty badass. Gets a little partner on there, and now it's shooting off this holy magic. After every swing, it's just like a whoosh of holy magic that follows behind it, and it is very, very difficult to handle, very hard to dodge. It's very chaotic. You're handling the crazy combos that are coming at you and the magic that's coming at you, and it's also doing these light speed blink attacks where it's just kind of disappearing, and then it'll appear, and it's really throwing you off. It's a whole bunch of feint attacks, and then it hits you with a real attack, and you're like, fuck. It's very, very fast, and then it's got a couple of really, really, really nasty AoE attacks. So it'll generally kick off phase 2 with that massive AoE attack. It is, to this point, I've never been able to avoid it. I know you can. You can run out of its range. It's just very tricky. For me, my best strategy is to block it. It doesn't do that much damage to me. So for me, it's not unfair. I can understand for some people that can be unfair, because, yeah, initially it was doing maybe half my health bar. Now it does maybe an eighth of the damage with my new build and some of the shit that I'm trying to do to help myself out. And then it has a massive attack that basically I dodge it every time, because it's very telegraphed. This thing will just kind of go, it'll do a thing, and you're like, all right, just run. Just fucking run the opposite direction as fast as you can, and you'll more than likely, I've avoided it 9 out of 10 times, so that hasn't bothered me. It's just, goddamn, it is so hard, and you gotta be so focused. My problem is now I am using rot pots as my main strategy. It's this boss is susceptible to bleed and rot, so you can throw a couple rot pots at it in phase 1, and then it's just constantly doing just a little bit of damage, and that goes a long way. Holy fuck, does it ever help a little bit. And in phase 2, you could throw 3 of them, and that will get the ball rolling for you. And with my Mimic tier in there, that thing will throw rot pots too. So that's really been helping. It's getting me closer than I've ever been. So at this point, I'm just really struggling with the holy right now. Like, I put on as the best talisman for holy damage reduction. I have the heaviest armor on me. I have a great shield, but not the best great shield for holy. I have the best one I can put on, and yeah, I mean, I just got to get a little bit luckier. I think I'm very good at dodging the initial attacks. It's just the holy stuff I am very struggling with. It also has, oh my god, I didn't even touch on this. So this thing's also using a weapon, a favorite weapon of mine in the early part of the game, is a massive fucking strength build weapon that I loved using. I used the shit out of it. It was my baby. And now it's using it against me, and I'm like, those are my attacks. And like, yeah, these suck to avoid. There was one in particular I had to like look it up because I could not for the life of me figure it out. And it's the gravity stuff. There's like gravity attacks, and I could not figure it out. You have to run and jump, apparently. That's how I've been dodging them. So if you're dealing with gravity problems, run and jump. Run and jump. And rot pots. Try rot pots. But again, I might be getting too comfortable with rot pots because that's just causing me to grind. And going into this fight, I'm not fully leveled. I don't have all my skadoosh blessings. I'm going in at 16 out of 20. So I heard anything from 15 to 20, you can defeat it. But the more the merrier, right? The more, the better the chances you're going to have. It's just at this point, I have no idea which ones I've missed. And I don't know if I want to grind that out. So I'm going to keep trying this final fight. And hopefully on another GamerCast, on another episode, I'll be able to tell y'all the brilliance and the feeling it is to take down that final boss. But as it is right now, I can't fucking do it. Or I haven't done it. I know I can do it, but I just haven't yet. I feel very, very confident. I'm not broken down whatsoever yet. Even after 40 plus attempts, I have no idea. And there are people that I've heard, like I said, 9+ hours, and like they're still trying, and I think that's because the fight is very, very fun. It really is fun. I'm having a blast, honestly, playing it. It's unlike the Elden Beast. The Elden Beast, I was fucking screaming and yelling in my house like a big baby, but not the frickin' final fight in Shadow. Thankfully, it's been every single time I've died, I'm just like, another go, please. Like, I have no problem going back in there. I don't know. It's just incredibly fun. That's my opinion on it. So, overall, let's just talk quickly about my favorite fights in the game. So, the Dancing Lion, fantastic. Renala, fantastic. Romina, these are all just fantastic. Romina, the Sunflower, the 2 dragons were fucking excellent, but my favorite fight is the final boss. It is so much fun. Now, I'll shout out Mesmer and Midra. I'll shout out both of those. I didn't have to fight them that many times, so sadly I didn't get the essence of them very much, especially Midra. Like, Midra was so cool. I'll watch that fight again, but that thing was definitely up there for the coolest one, absolutely. But for the funnest one, for me, it's the final boss. It is outstanding. Now, in terms of scoring this game, I will be scoring this game as a DLC with that in mind. This is not a full game. They didn't ask for 110 Canadian dollars or whatever the fuck. So with that being in mind, there are no real cons to this game that I can really touch on. I talked about the bad frame rate, but that was a me problem, so that doesn't count. The difficulty for me, I've never felt like it was unfair. It only encouraged exploration, so I have no complaints here, folks. The music, unfucking believable. Unbelievable music. The graphics, the environments are unreal. Unfreaking real. It gave me the same feelings that I had in Elden Ring, which it should, but even better. There's just bigger, badder places. It's crazy. The enemies are so fun to fight. The combat is amazing. The new weapons are so fun. There's so much content here. Oh my god. Like, I can easily play for another 10 hours finding the final skadoosh blessings. I didn't even finish the quests. Like, you can bring in I've seen you can bring in 2 summons into the final fight, which will only make it harder, so I'm not really worried about it. But those are 2 quest lines I haven't finished then, because they're not there, so I know I haven't completed them. So there's like quest lines I haven't fully completed. There's probably numerous places that I feel I more than likely haven't discovered. I felt like I did a good job. Anyway, I know I haven't found them all, but there's a lot left for me to play, and I've put in a solid 30, 35, 40 hours. Like, wow. This is a masterclass in DLC. This is the bar, and for me right now, I would feel like holy shit, it is a full From Software game experience. Like, damn, so many bosses, so many stunning environments, so many great moments, and I haven't even really started to unfold the story, which I can only imagine is insane. Like, I'm just starting with the Vati Vidya stuff, and the lore is going to be nuts. It's a 10 out of 10. This is I don't use the word perfect because nothing's perfect, but this is the masterclass of downloadable content. This is the peak. This is as good as you can get. And yes, even at a $55 price tag, I feel like it's fully worth the bang for your buck. The quality of this game is just so high. There's so much to do. There's no wasted space. It's just endless, man. Like, and the replayability, like, just to come back at this DLC with all new weapons, and like, I can always do that. And that's the full and all of the whole appeal of Elden Ring, is that it's one of the most replayable Souls games, like, ever, if not in the whole entire franchise, because of how easy it is to rebuild a character and how many options there are. There's like hundreds of weapons and magic spells, and god, it's insane. Love this thing so friggin' much. I hope I can beat the final boss. If you did, congratulations. Truly congratulations on you. I know there's tons out there that did it, and even better shout out to the ones that did it pre-patch. I mean, fuck. I mean, I'm bowing down to you right now. Like, that's a bow down right there. I still feel, for me, Ishin is still the hardest boss I've ever fought. It's just, that dude required so much. Absolutely so much. It was such a long and grinding fight. Now, that is the play style that I chose to fight him with, so it is partly my fault, but that fight was just hard. Very, very hard. This one's hard, but that one's hard. Oh, it broke me down a bit there, honestly, the Sekiro. It probably has taken a total of 3.75 years of my life expectancy off, and yeah, so I'm still trying to fight and get that one back. I've been eating broccoli and shit like that. I don't know, I had a glass of milk the other day. I think I'll be okay. Anyway, 10 out of 10. Let me know what you have experienced in the Shadow Realm. How are you having fun? Are you having a hard time out there, y'all? It's okay. Keep grinding. Have a blast. That's the amazing thing about this Elden Ring, and why I think Elden Ring is the most accessible and the best one to enter yourself into the FromSoft games, because it's hard, absolutely. It's not easy, but it is very accessible. There aren't as many walls as there would be in a normal Dark Souls game, where it's just like, this is the boss, you have to beat it, deal with it, get good. With Elden Ring, it's like, okay, there's this hard boss, but there's 7 million other ways I can go and get stronger, and I'll come back another time. So it's just, I love these games. I love this. I love it. I think that might be the first 10 out of 10 I've ever given on the podcast. I think so. Very good chance. I'm not sure. I know I might have. I don't know if I've ever revised the Tears of the Kingdom to a 10 out of 10. I would probably revise the Elden Ring to a 10 out of 10, because I'm just not of the mind that a 10 out of 10 does not. It doesn't mean that it's perfect. I just think that it means it is the highest tier of its class. And I think Elden Ring, as an open world RPG, it is just unfucking believable. Unbelievable. So there you go. Hit me with all your stories and your favorite boss fights, least favorite boss fights in the Shadow Realm. And thank you everybody so much for listening. Oh, that was I can talk Elden Ring for another hour easily, but I want to go and play some more Elden Ring and play some more other video games, as you should as well after listening to this podcast and rating it 5 stars and reviewing it and all that great stuff. That would be absolutely fantastic of you. And there's also a Twitter page you can follow where I put up announcements as best as I can, and if I ever beat the boss, I'll throw it up there and we can celebrate together. That would be awesome. I also upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. All the links are in the description. You can follow there, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Great place if you want to drop a comment on one of the videos, you want a question answered live on the podcast. I'll shout you out, answer your question, all that great stuff. I would love that. Highly encouraged. Let me know what games you're playing, anything. It's all good. Or there's also an email address if you're don't want to have a, shout it out or anything. You just want to have a private conversation, talk games, having a bad day. Got an email address there. My door is always open for anybody and anybody. So that is what it is. But oh my goodness, go out there, play Elden Ring, download this downloadable content, but do your homework a little bit, because if there is one gripe I could have with it is that it is tricky to get into it, but it makes sense to the story. So I can't really give it a negative on that. It is a pain in the bum, but I think it was good enough to get me readjusted to the game and help me get back into the story, because the things they make you do to get in there, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm not going to knock it any points for that either. Just quickly addressing that. Other than that, fucking outstanding. Such a great time. I can't wait for more. Anything from FromSoft. I want it. I want it so bad. Elden Ring 1, 2, 3. Give me 8 more of these things. I just love them. Love them. All right. I'm going to leave. I'm going to stop rambling. It's a long-ass episode already, but thank you so much, everybody, for listening. You're amazing. It's been just so awesome. Just the amount of downloads that been getting on this podcast lately has been outstanding. So thank you, everybody, new and old. If you're new here, hello. If you're old, you're the best. You awesome. You dog. You know you. But we'll be back with some more GX Plus Cast.